right. We're back again.
Let's get it.
Well, it's interesting
Put some
that
respect on my fucking name.
you're goddamn right. So we did the episodes a little quickly. We did one Tuesday. We're doing one on Thursday. It's like a quick fire episode here. But surprisingly, we got a shitload of emails. So thank you for everybody that reached out to us. So the response was really great. I think people are starting to realize, like, oh, I can literally ask, like we said before, we can ask these fucking idiots anything, and they'll talk about it. So, but before we get into that,
but they're asking the stupid fucking questions. So
exactly,
who's the joke on?
That's
I'm just
true.
kidding. Keep sending emails.
But before we get into that, remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at scam_podcast. If you want to email us, like these lovely people, podcastscam@gmail.com. So do you want to do the serious email first, or do you want to do that one last?
Ooh, define serious. What does that mean? Like it's a thought, or it's like somebody got their feelings hurt?
I don't know if they got their feelings hurt.
Oh, so they definitely got their feelings hurt.
No, I don't know. I think it was a little defensive, we'll say.
All right, well, let's start with the serious, and then we'll cleanse our palate. Good.
So let me preface this by saying he ends the email by saying, I hope you can find some humor in this. I'm not trying to trap you or upset you guys. I'm just really honestly curious. So email says, my name is Henry. I live and grew up in West Baltimore. I'm a big fan of the show so far, but I notice you guys talk a lot about BLM and defund the police, which we don't really. We think we mentioned it once, but
in the beginning, in the first couple episodes,
because it was literally happening like when we were talking about it. But anyways, and me as a black man, I've had numerous negative interactions with law enforcement, and I was just curious what kind of experiences you guys had with police, and what was the worst one. Sorry if this is too heavy for the show. And then, like I said, I hope you can find some humor, and I'm not trying to trap or upset you guys. Just curious. So,
definitely have had bad experiences, dude. In Florida, they just tell you to get out of the car. There's no license and registration. I actually had, you won't even believe this shit. On my 18th birthday, we were going through, like, some of my football buddies. We were driving through the hood, and I was saying hi to one of them or something. I don't know. And we were coming out of it, so you know how it looks. White people coming out of the hood, think they're buying drugs and shit. So and then they make us. They wanted me to drive them, with them in the backseat of my car and through the hood, and then just like whoever came up to the car, they were just gonna arrest them. So, I mean. And then I remember that one time when we were driving back from driving to Gainesville. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a black cop that pulled us over. He was actually super cool, but he was fucking with us a little bit. And it was kind of funny. But
you're talking about the seatbelt thing?
No, we were like drinking all night. We shouldn't have even been driving. It was super early in the morning. Yeah. I had that 92 Accord, and he's like, man, he just said it out the bag. So you guys smell like alcohol. Yeah, it was last night, dude. He goes, you know, you can't be driving with no bumper, because I didn't have a bumper on the car and shit. It was fucking driving that hoopty. And then he comes back over.
That car was reliable, though, man. That got us through some tough times.
Oh, yeah. I remember kicking the windows out.
I was just about to say that. So when Malcolm got a new car, they were just going to, he was going to have to pay to have it taken.
I got that upgrade, dog.
But you were going to have to, pay to get it towed to, a dump, a junkyard, right? They wanted you to pay. So we're fuck that. We'll just kick the windows out and somebody else will come pick it up for free.
Yeah, they did, and I never seen it again. And then it was on my credit for 3 years for
was it?
Yeah, well, it was like a $3,000 impound fee, and they wanted me to pay the fee. I'm like, yo, the fee's worth more than the car. Just keep the car. Like, oh, we did. We don't even have the car anymore. And I was like, so what are we even talking about? And I still have the title to it, but they ended up wiping it off my credit, because it was like there's I don't know. There's a lien on selling the car or some shit. It's like I can't sell something you already sold.
Yeah.
But my interactions, dude, it's always the same, dude. In Florida, at least, I will say this: out in the Midwest, I mean, I don't know about Baltimore and shit.
Didn't you live in Baltimore?
Yeah, when I did training camp with the Ravens or whatever for an internship, I didn't live in Baltimore. It was we were staying in Owings Mills, but I traveled throughout Baltimore and stuff like that. But generally in Florida, they're never good. I mean,
no.
Getting pulled, because to me, for me, it was like when I got a better car, which the second one wasn't a better car, when I got a truck and shit, after I started my career and stuff, Then I stopped getting pulled over as much. But when I had the hoopties, like the crackhead whips, getting pulled over all the time.
See,
all the time.
For me,
all the time.
See, for me though, the story I have is the complete opposite. So here in Florida, I was 22. I had a BMW, and I got pulled over all the fucking time. I didn't have tint, but I just got pulled over all the fucking time, and it was always the same story. Hey, do you know any of your friends that sell weed? It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
your
you pulled me over
plate,
for a taillight.
Your license plate light is out. That's the classic one. One time I was like, no, it's not. It's fucking. It wasn't on before. You mind not stepping out of the car so we can search the vehicle? I'm like, Jesus, fuck, dude.
Hey, you were with me that one time. Remember when they asked to search the car and I said no, and they just left? You're like, I've never seen that happen.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, my experiences in Florida have never been good.
So my worst one was, I got pulled over for something stupid. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like an illegal left turn into like a gas station, something stupid. They were just trying to find a reason to pull me over. Same shit. They wanted to search the car. I told them no. I was like, no, there's nothing in the car for them to find anyway. So I was just like, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time. So when they pulled me over though, he asked for my license, registration, and my insurance thing was out of date. But my insurance was valid. The piece of paper I had was the old one. So I was like, look, I can pull it up on my phone. I know I'm allowed to do that. I've done that before. And I like go to show it to him. And he goes, well, just hold on to that for a second. I'll be right back. So he walks away to his car, whatever, comes back and he's like, I'm just going to give you a warning for the turn or whatever. But I'm going to write you a ticket for not having your insurance. So I was like, well, that's bullshit. So I'm arguing with the guy. I'm like, that's bullshit because I have it. I showed it to you. I was literally pulling it up on my phone, showing it to you. He was like, no, but you could have paid for it right there in front of me and updated. I'm like, why would I do that? The ticket for it's $10 or whatever. Like, I'm not. So we get in this big argument, and then he ended up like getting like screaming at me, telling me like, you can either take this ticket or go to jail. So like, what the fuck? So I end up just whatever taking the ticket, sign it,
0 to 100.
Exactly. So then I had to get gas, so that's why I was going to the gas station, and I'm looking over the ticket in the gas station. He wrote the ticket under the wrong name. He wrote it under my dad. Because the car at the time I was driving, because I was a kid, was my dad's car. So luckily he's still in the parking lot. And I walk over and I'm like knocking on his window. I'm like, hey, dickhead, like this isn't even me. You could see it from my license. That's not me. And he's 40 years old. I'm 18. What the fuck are you talking about? Right? So immediately, he gets out all standoffish and he ends up looking at it and realizing he fucked up or whatever. So he goes and like throws it away. But guess what? My dad's license got suspended a few months later because he didn't pay that ticket. So there's a whole thing, but I've also had other bad experiences with not even getting like pulled over, just cops being dicks, like being
cops
downtown.
are always dicks.
Yeah. Or I don't know how it is for everybody, but specifically in Florida, they're very quick to turn to violence or scream at you or those kinds.
Oh, dude, the night I got arrested for going the wrong way down that one way, and I was trashed. I was hammered. They were like,
we do not endorse drinking and driving on this show.
Dude, I was like 19 or something. It was ridiculous. We're like sifting through a crowd, and at the end of the crowd is like officers on foot. They fucking draw their weapons, throw everybody out of the car. I'm with my Spanish friend, and he's like, I almost put one between the fucking passenger's eyes, and it's like, I'm the one driving, dude.
Yeah.
And then, it was wild.
Oh man!
And then I take like the field sobriety test. I just happened to have good balance and passed it. I was hammered. And then they were like, "All right, he passes his sobriety, but he can't be operating a vehicle." So they arrested me anyways for a wrong way down a one way. But there's plenty of experiences, and just to touch on the BLM thing, like I'm with the police brutality thing. Like it's not good, and we all see how it goes down. But I think it's more of a deeper issue with the criminal justice system in general. When you have people can get pulled over for ticky-tack things like traffic violations and stupid drug violations when all drugs should just be legal, then it gives people the opening to fuck with people. And I think it's that kind of systemic shit that needs to be fixed. And I think if you probably should have to serve in the military, because generally those dudes have a little bit more of a clear head and don't fuck with you as much.
Yeah.
Because when you see people
some shit.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, sorry, yeah, you ran a red light, dude. Like, all right, I shouldn't pull you out of the car, start beating the shit out of you.
So I agree. I feel the same way. I agree with the movement's message. I don't know if I agree with the actual movement itself. There's some weird shit going on with that. But I do agree with the message, Black Lives Matter, 100%. Like the organization is the only thing I would be critical of. Not saying I don't support it, but I would be a little critical of it. As far as the defund the police thing, I mean, whatever, dude, whatever works, because it's definitely broken right now. So you got to find a way to fix it.
Yeah, so. I don't care what they do with the defund the police, but as long as I can have a gun for myself, I don't care.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But if you're like, you want to defund the police and then take my guns, dude, I don't know about all that.
That's a little tricky. All right, so let's move along and hop into the next email. So the next email is a little bit of a lighter note. This one says, you guys talk about your partying days in college, and you mentioned UF and seeing other people's worst drunk experiences. Tell us some of them. What's the craziest shit you saw in college from Holly?
All right, Holly. Actually, Holly, I got a picture on my phone that we can bring. Damn, I don't know if I could still.
You can't. Yeah. Well, it's
even. You might have been with me that guy at that bar where he's passed out like on the side. Yeah, on the side, like licking the nastiest bathroom you could possibly fall asleep in.
Yeah, think of like a club or bar bathroom where there's just piss all over the floor, shit on the floor, and this guy's just like face down right next to the toilet. I think I was with you that night. Because I'm pretty sure in that video or in that it's a picture, but what was actually happened was I was trying to like wake him up. I was like, "Hey man," like kicking him and stuff. So
UF and SEC, dude. I mean, you see so much shit. Like, chicks getting carried out of the stadium as soon as the game starts, just trash drunk. I mean, it's bad. I've seen a lot of fucked up shit.
I was gonna say it's hard to pick just one.
I could do a whole podcast on that.
I do remember two specific stories that stand out. One was when they won the national championship. We were not together when that happened. You were in Miami. I was with another one of our friends, and me and him were just on University after the game, after they won, and it was a backlog of cars because you couldn't drive through University, and we were just walking back to the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were going by, there was people in cars just handing us drinks and shit. One guy had like a van, and he opened the van door, and there was just like they had a keg on ice in the van. So we dropped in there, we're doing like taking shots and stuff. So that was pretty nuts. That was something I'll never forget. But like the worst moment, I do remember this girl, and I don't think you were with me for this either. There's that bar 8 Seconds. It was like a country bar where they did like line dancing and stuff. I know you remember it. Actually, I think that picture is from 8 Seconds.
It is, yeah.
It is, okay. So, there used to be like an upstairs part to that.
I think there was. I think I knew there was. I just never went.
Yeah. So I remember this girl was on this guy's shoulders, and they were hammered, and you could see like disaster about to strike.
Oh god!
And she literally went over the railing off the second floor, and she hit like the overhang or whatever, and she was stuck up there.
Jeez.
So I think that's the worst I've ever seen. As far as people just being drunk, I do remember.
Remember, we almost got jumped at a party. 8 people on one.
Yeah, and I remember that I dropped my phone, and then the cops came, and I'm like, they have my phone, and then they're like, oh, you mean this one? And it was just pieces, just pieces of a phone. They just shattered it.
There's no way I deleted that photo.
We'll post it on Instagram or something later. Let's move on to the next question. But yeah, so Holly, to answer your question, there's so much stuff. There's some stuff on there we obviously cannot talk about. So that's what we're part of. So nothing too crazy, but just we're not going to tell personal stories on here about people that aren't here to defend themselves.
I'm thinking about something in Orlando that would really take.
Oh yeah, no, you can't tell that one. So on to the next one. This email says, I loved the whole ugly Tina thing, and last episode where you gave the unsexiest names. I wanted to know, what was the worst, weirdest name you ever heard out in the world that made you pause or laugh? Keep on keeping on, Claire. So another girl. She wants to know, like, just the weirdest name you've ever heard that was someone's name.
The weirdest name?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. I mean, because that's kind of relative, right? Because if they're from another country or something, it's weird, but, it's not weird to them. What do you think?
Well, I worked with this guy, and he can't.
I've never met anybody named North. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I hope this guy doesn't end up hearing this. Because I think he does follow me on social media, but he was a really nice guy. But when I met him, I worked with him at a restaurant, and when he came up, I was like, hey, my name's Josh. And he goes, hey, Anus. So,
Anus?
Anus. A-A-N-U-S. Anus. He was like Indian or something, but
see, that's what I said. That's what I'm saying. Like, the name thing's kind of relative.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do like American names.
I know. Didn't we go to school with a kid named Bud Weiser?
No, I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure he went to us, or to the high school we went to. I'm almost positive his name was Budweiser. That might not be real. That might be something I dreamt about or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of a weird name.
So we got a few more questions. I'm trying to figure out. There was one that was also about cops, but we already kind of talked about that one, so we'll skip that. I did see a lot of.
I want to know what it's about.
If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you had done? I'll just say like get in a fight or something. Probably
hit a cop. Yeah. Got pulled over and it got out of hand. Or drugs.
Okay, so here's another one. What is the most weird or disgusting thing you have ever eaten? I know you probably have a good one for this, having been out.
Oh yeah, I have a bunch.
Asia.
Okay. So in like northeast Thailand, they have this dish where they make where they take like a pork or chicken, and then they like make like a sauce, but the sauce is like, it's either, I can't remember if it's raw cow blood or raw pig blood, and then they like scrunch lemongrass into it and shit. And I ate that, and it was good. It actually tasted good, and I got deathly sick from it.
Oh no!
No, I got like food poisoning. Like the chick I ate it with, she handled it fine, but I couldn't. No, my stomach couldn't take it. But then I've eaten this thing called lab, and it's like it's all the different stomachs of the cow, and it's like just boiled. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Snake soup.
That actually doesn't sound bad.
It's actually gross.
Is it?
It's oily.
Oh yeah, that does sound gross. I think the weirdest thing I did have, like I've had some weird fucking sushi where I was just like, I don't even know what's in this. You know what I mean? But that wasn't like by choice. That was just like, there's no way this is shrimp. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that kind of stuff.
There was this chick this one time.
Yeah. All right, so we got. Let's do this last one. Actually, let's save that for next week. We'll save that one for next week because I have something to go with that. So that's it for the emails for now. So a couple of things to touch on. One person did send in one of my friends messaged me that if you watch episode 1 through 8, like in order, you can see Malcolm slowly brainwashing Josh. Like slowly, he's like, I'm starting to agree with shit. I was like, nah, man, nah. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then also, I don't know if you saw.
What do you think the scam is, dog?
I also saw that multiple people reached out and mentioned how that movie Fire in the Sky fucking terrified them. Like 3 different people fucking said something to me, and then like 2 different people on the YouTube commented like, yeah, fuck that movie. That movie scared the shit out of me. One guy was like, he's like, I'm a grown man and I'm still scared of that movie. So I don't know. So I looked into it a little bit more. It was based on a true story, but the wild thing about it I wanted to bring up was, so what happened was there's a bunch of lumberjacks, right? And they're all out in the woods at night, and they see like a weird light in the sky. This one dude gets out and is investigating it, and a beam comes down and knocks him down, right? And they think he's dead, so the other guys in the truck, they take off. Well, so he doesn't show up for a few days. So the police think these guys are like, oh yeah, dude, aliens. They think he murdered him. So these dudes are like getting like arrested for murder, and then he just shows up 4 days later, and he's like, I don't know what happened, and I got all these weird cuts on me and shit, and then
you saw me like I was like, Jesus, this thing is weird.
Yeah, the mood. Those scenes on YouTube are like very creepy. I went and watched them again. That's how you saw them because I sent them to you, and there's like a scene where they have them on a table, all these weird aliens, and they look like fetuses, and they're just shoving goo in his mouth, and they shove a needle in his eyeball. I mean, it was one of those movies that was the intent, to be like shocking. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like so, and it was like early '90s, so there really wasn't that many like rules on what they could show and stuff. So yeah, that one was tough. But yeah, so shout out to everybody that is familiar with that movie. Fuck that movie. So one thing I want to talk about with you is something I read online and kind of stuck with me a little bit, right? So obviously the Washington football team, we talked about that. They're not going to use the Redskins anymore. How long until you think, okay, someone comes into the stadium with a Redskins shirt on, they're told they can't come in?
Ooh. See, that's always like so I'm not saying they should or shouldn't be wearing it, but it gives me that feeling of like, when I grew up, it was like right on the cusp of middle schools, like telling you to wear uniforms and shit.
Yeah.
And you just, you're like, fuck this. And that's kind of the feeling I get with that. I mean, I just
whoa. So wait. That's not what I understand what you're saying, but that is an issue here. Think of right now if someone tried to walk into a baseball football game with a white shirt that said the N-word on it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Happening. That's not happening.
That's what I'm saying. Your freedoms are getting taken. It doesn't matter. Free speech is not going to be a thing anymore. I'm telling you.
Hate speech and free speech are not the same thing.
You're right. It's not. But what I'm saying is once you go over that hill, it's over.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So how long until they tell someone you cannot wear our old logo into the stadium? Like what, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now?
Right now.
No. There's going to be there's so much merchandise. You're telling me so next season.
Right fucking now.
No. That won't happen. You're completely wrong. There's no chance. If I'm a Redskins fan or Washington football team fan, next season when there's fans allowed in the stadium, I will be allowed in the stadium.
It's going to start with a fight, and then there's going to be another fight, and then they're going to ban it.
I don't think so.
What are you talking about?
I don't see
it's already happening.
They've taken away the logo. They're not banning you from wearing the merchandise. They just, like a month ago, took it off of the website.
They already tell you got to call people, these fucking pronouns and all this other shit. Like,
see,
it's coming.
But you're not. That's not on the same level. You're not. No. That'd be like saying, okay, the reason I brought up the N-word thing is because that was something that was commonly, like, people commonly called black people that word for a long time. It was never good, but it was like other people accepted that name for them in a time that was horrible. But at one point in our history, thankfully, that changed, and it was not acceptable to use that word.
You can't get that put on a shirt anyways. But this is what I'm saying. Like, and you shouldn't be allowed to, but what's getting conflated in all that is everybody thinks their feelings matter now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about feelings, bro. This isn't about feelings. This is what I'm saying. This team, up until a month ago, was the Washington...
Which is super offensive, yeah, for what it stands for. Yes.
But it went a long time where that logo was okay with everybody involved as far as the front office. At some point in the future, you are going to try to... Like I'm right now, I'm wearing a Gator shirt. If this shirt said Gators, right, and then people found that offensive, one day they are going to tell people, hey, you can't come in with that shirt on. That's not going to happen anytime in the near future. But there's going to be a time where wearing that shirt in public is going to be an issue, right? It's not there yet, and it won't be there for a while. But
I think it'll be an issue right now. Somebody would say something.
You think?
Oh,
you
yeah.
really believe that? I don't think that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I think if I was at a bar right now and someone was wearing a Redskins shirt, no one would even think twice about it.
What city are you in?
Any city in the United States.
Any city. If you're in Portland, then there's not a problem with that?
I think that someone may say, like, hey, that's not a name anymore, right? Like, it's one thing for as
I think they would call you a racist.
I don't think so.
I mean, the name is insensitive.
Absolutely. It's a horrible name. It should never have been the name to begin with.
It's literally the the native version of what you said was on the show before.
I know. So, but I just because of how much fucking stuff is out there with that shirt. Because that's the thing, like you said, they never printed shirts that said the N-word on it. So when you wear a shirt like that, you clearly had it made for the intent of hurting others. Harmful language.
Which you can't do.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Which is actually illegal.
Exactly. But the Redskins thing was sold by the team. These people own these shirts. They didn't think of it. They didn't buy it with an intent to hurt someone. They bought it with an intent to root for their favorite team. So it's going to be crazy to me when that happens. We're like, no, you can't wear that in here.
Oh, you better get ready for it.
I don't think it happens. I don't think it happens I think you'll still see Redskins shirts for
I was
20
watching years. It might have been on your mom's house or one of them, and it was like some dude talking about how this Japanese animation is racist and all this shit. It's just like, I don't even know, give me the fucking, what is it called? The the encyclopedia of what what's acceptable, even though it's constantly evolving and changing. It's moving too fast, dude. It's moving too fast.
Well, all right. So this is my stance on all that stuff has always been the same. If someone's offended by it, they have a right, like you said before, you have a right to free speech. You also have the right to feel any way you want, but I think the problem right now is people are reacting to it a little too quickly. I think there's a lot of these things where that not with the Redskins name. I think that should have been way gone. But there are things where they aren't that serious, but we overreact to them. And
but my thing is, dude,
chain reaction. Where does it stop?
Exactly. And my thing is people came to this country because the violence they had to suffer. It wasn't just names. They're like, they came over here because it's like, I'm cool with just names, dude. I just don't want to get killed in the streets.
Yeah,
you can call me what you want.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be the basis of these ideals is that, free speech is everything, because once you start saying you can't say something, then it turns into, he said that even though they didn't, and then they're in jail.
Well, I see. All right. So what I don't understand with that is if you have these people that feel that way, right, and they get all bent out of shape, why is it that they have all these people that feel that way and all these people that get upset? Why is there not a counter side that supports it? I feel like if they're like for the Redskins thing, right, there were people that said, no, don't change the name, but it wasn't in
Dan
support.
Schneider for 10 years.
But it wasn't in support of the name being good. It was in support of it's been the logo for so long. You know what I mean?
People don't like change.
Exactly. But that was always the argument. And their argument was never like, the name's fine. You know what I mean?
Not only that, it's just from a pure business perspective. It probably costs a lot of money to throw all that product out. Whatever they have in general, and changing stadium names and team names and equipment. And I'm sure it costs money.
Absolutely does. But let's.
And I think that's when things change, is when it always comes down to the money. It's like, all right, not changing the name. It's probably going to cost us a little more than changing the name at this point, and then we'll switch it.
And that's why they did it. It was it's always about money. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. So all that was a little bit heavy. So let me lighten the mood a little bit with. Well, actually, let me preface this first by saying this is a funny clip, but it's not funny because of what this person says. It's funny because of the situation. We don't agree with his worldviews or the slurs that he says out of his mouth.
Oh, God.
We just want to make sure that we do not stand with him on that, but you will hopefully understand the humor in the situation. So, can you see it?
Oh, man.
The fag capitals of the world. Reds Live, the pregame show presented by Ray Roofing.
Oh, I seen this.
Okay, so what that was the Reds broadcaster Thom Brennaman here. He was on a hot mic. He didn't know, and he said, "I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he said a homophobic slur on the pregame show, which he didn't know was taping." And then after the show, 5 hours later, he was calling the game when it went viral. And 5 hours later, he got fired or got suspended, right? So in the middle of the game, he had to resign basically, or say he was being suspended. So this is him saying now, announcing to the fans his apology, okay? Look how great this is. So mind you, the game is still going on while he's doing this.
I made a comment earlier tonight that I guess went out over the air that I am deeply ashamed of. If I have hurt anyone out there, I can't tell you how much I say from the bottom of my heart. I'm so very, very sorry. I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Get the fuck out of here.
So in the middle of his apology.
Look, I'm sorry. I gotta be real about this. All right. I know.
Hold on, I gotta compose myself. It gets funnier every time I see it. It gets funnier every time.
You know what this reminds me of, right?
What's that?
Is that fucking Norm Macdonald talking about that other baseball host who had the cough button, and he was just saying ridiculous things.
Yeah. Well, so he says the F word homophobic slur. Blank is the capital of the world, which I don't even know what city. I guess Kansas City, because that's where the game was. Didn't know it was live. He gets suspended. But in the middle of his apology, a guy hits a home run, and he's like, Castellanos deep to left field, and that's a 4-0 ball game. And I am really sorry about what I said earlier, whatever, So I just thought that was fucking great. People are already selling shirts that have that fucking quote on it. Like I'm truly sorry. Castellanos deep to left.
I got to keep it real, though. That word has not, in the public sphere and on media and stuff, it's not very prevalent. But that shit ain't lost no steam. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing is, he put a little funk on it too. He was like, he didn't just it didn't just slip out of his mouth. He had a little on there. You know what I mean? He really laid it out there nice and smooth. Like that's not something that's not something he accidentally said. That's in his everyday vocabulary. For sure.
Yeah, it's the hard F, dude. Like he's in Texas or something. You know
yeah. So it's just crazy, man, because that's the end of that guy's career for sure, and that's like his career-defining moment will be. I didn't even know who that guy was until last night.
It's not the end of it. I'm sorry, you can't.
No, he's done. He's done.
He's done. You don't think he's ever coming back?
No, and he also calls NFL games on Sundays, and he already got fired from that. So he's done.
That voice though is so iconic.
It is a good voice. He does, but there's hundreds of guys that have that voice. Now, if this was this is Thom fucking Brennaman, who I've never heard of until last night. And I watch a lot of sports. If that was Joe Buck might have got a second chance.
I kind of, with those guys, they can say anything and I like it.
It's just their voice. So convincing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But so that was the highlight of my night last night. I just
want to know what it would have been better if he could at least explain the context of what he was talking about.
I think we got the context, Malcolm.
I get the context, but I feel a little blind. I'm just like, what city was he talking about?
who is he talking to as well? Like, is that just something you say to your coworkers? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something you talk about at work.
That's what's so weird about it is it's just like what was the question that was posed? All right. What if the guy was like, what if right before that he goes, you wouldn't believe what this guy said. He said this play, you know what I'm saying?
No. Like right before that, he was like, the one thing you should never say live on air? And then he said that. That's the only explanation where he doesn't get fired,
Yeah. Or you go all in. You go all in and be like, look, yeah. I've been a closet homosexual. No. I've been a closet homosexual my whole life.
Either that or he was like, I was just pointing it out. I love Kansas City. All the cute men out here, Or he just joined something like OAN or whatever and just like, I fucking hate Kansas City. I hate all those dudes out there, so.
Or he's talking about, Australia or fucking UK where they call cigarettes and other things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the cigarette capital of the world, baby. Kansas City. Everyone knows that. I think Marlboro's from Kansas City.
Dive in and lie. Who cares? You already lost your job. Might as well fucking just go all in.
Oh, man. And my other thing is, if you're the Reds, right, you see that went viral. You got to fire this guy, right? You got to. And to not receive public backlash, because that's what they're worried about. They don't really care about what was said or who was hurt. They just don't want to get bad publicity from it, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, why would they ever agree, like, hey, in the bottom of the fifth, call the game, but also do a little apology before we get you out of here? Like, just take him off. The other guy that fills in could say, hey, due to some underlying circumstances, we're having this other guy fill in. Like,
now that would have been like a game inside of a game if they just pull him out and just fucking throw somebody randomly in there and just see what happens.
Yeah.
It's like when they throw the QB in, and you're like, this guy's gonna fucking suck.
It's like, wait a minute, is Rodgers hurt? He's in my fantasy lineup. Is he out for the game? Do you have a concussion? Like, what's going on? Yeah,
exactly, dude.
You're checking Twitter, you're refreshing feeds. Like, is it his ankle? His ankle's been bothering him, So that would have been interesting for sure. So that wasn't very cool. But something me and Malcolm were talking about earlier, we saw a picture of Elvis Presley, and I thought, meme. It was a good meme. And I thought, man, Elvis was really fucking cool. So we started talking back and forth about who we thought were the coolest people in history. So I'm gonna start with you. Who do you think is in the Mount Rushmore of coolest guys ever?
I mean, Elvis has got to be up there, right? I mean,
no doubt.
Let's describe the the definitions of cool? Are we talking about just like a coxman? Somebody who
No,
gets
not
it
necessarily. Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Or does that come hand in hand when you are cool?
It does. That's what I was gonna say. I think that the cool part comes first, and that part's just that's like part of the reward for being so cool. Like no one's fucking Elvis Presley if he works at Home Depot. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe somebody is, but he's not having the life he had if he's working at Home Depot. So I think it's just the aura where it's just like all the girls want to be with him, all the guys want to be him or be his buddy.
Yeah, that's a good criteria.
That's like the cool thing. So, do you have one off the top of your head? Because I was kind of thinking of one.
I mean, coolest of all time. That's a. I gotta ponder on that.
Okay, so I have two that I was thinking of. Right. So the first one's Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah,
Wilt Chamberlain was
one.
fucking cool.
He
was a cool guy. Watch your mic over there. You keep touching the cord. Wilt Chamberlain was fucking cool. Slept with apparently 10,000 women. I don't know how that's possible, but that's what he claimed.
Just some math.
He was a 7-foot menace on the basketball court. He scored 100 points in the game. Arguably the best player of all time, if you take into account his era. Probably the best scorer of all time. And he was just a cool guy. He was in movies. He was in that movie with Bruce Lee. I mean, he was just a cool guy. And then for one a little bit more recent, probably Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I was gonna say McConaughey too. You know, I just thought of too back in the day was probably a cool motherfucker. Is Joe Namath was probably.
Oh, Joe Namath was so cool.
Yeah,
he's also cool on another level because that nasty the way. Oh no, it was Joe Theismann that broke his leg. Joe Namath was Broadway Joe, smoked cigarettes and did the prediction. Oh yeah. Joe Namath
trying to make out with fucking Susie fucking what's her name on that Jets game on the sideline. You don't remember that?
Yeah. Do you remember the fur the mink coat he wore?
That's what I'm saying. That's a cool motherfucker right there.
That is a cool. Well, they called him like Broadway Joe.
Yeah,
he went out partying before the Super Bowl. They were like huge underdogs, and then he was just like, "Oh no, I guarantee we're going to win tomorrow."
If that guy doesn't have a vacuum for a nose, dude, I don't know what he. Come on, bro. This guy's doing some wild shit in the '70s, probably.
I mean, how fucking cool is this guy? I mean, come on now, Broadway Joe, baby.
This guy's at a football game in a mink, dude. Come on.
Look at he's wearing sunglasses. Look at that. Look at those curls too. He was getting his hair permed. I mean, cool guy for sure. So Joe Namath, I agree. I was thinking of Joe Theismann, who's the guy whose leg like exploded. Do you remember that for the Redskins? Yeah, and he wasn't that cool. Joe Namath was cool. Broadway Joe. So let's try to stay away from the athletes because we have Wilt and we have Joe Namath. So I had McConaughey.
McConaughey's a good one.
What about like another actor?
Another actor?
Yeah.
It's so weird to define like cool.
I was gonna say maybe like Leo. Leo's pretty cool. He does have the dad bod though.
But that's what makes it even cooler.
That's true. Yeah, because he can still do all that with the.
Yeah. I think McConaughey's slightly cool just because he's kind of insane.
From like Texas or whatever.
And he's just weird as fuck.
Ooh, if we're going there, what about why is his name slipping in my head? The guy who played oh my god. He's in 100 movies. He's in The Departed. He's played Joker in the original Batman. Who the fuck am I thinking? Jack Nicholson. Why the fuck couldn't I think of that? Jack Nicholson's fucking cool because he's also weird.
Yeah, I could see that too.
All right, let's do one more. One more to put on the top of the I guess the the Mount Rushmore. I guess I'd have to go actor again. Probably like Denzel.
Yeah, Denzel's probably all right.
Yeah. So we have Denzel.
I feel like that Idris Elba too. He's probably.
Oh, Idris Elba is super cool. The thing with Idris Elba is that he like. I don't think he's there yet though. He's not at that Denzel level yet, but he's close. He's like this generation's Denzel. I feel like.
Yeah, well,
not as good of an actor.
You know what? Who probably really defines the cool in a weird way? I mean, I don't see the appeal, but like the Prince thing, because like
Prince.
Yeah, because like women loved him and men loved him. I don't know. I wasn't alive back during his shit, but
Prince was undeniably cool.
Yeah.
If you can pull off those fucking
That's what I'm saying. You got to be
shit.
pretty cool to be doing some of the shit he was doing. And he was like 5'1" or something.
So let's do our final four of who we have as the coolest guys in history. Joe Namath is definitely on the list. That was a good call.
Yeah.
So I'll say Joe Namath is one. And then out of that other group, who do we have as like number two there? I guess maybe McConaughey.
I would say Will. I think.
Will, okay.
I think I can't really attest because that was so long ago, but I imagine the dude was probably crushing it.
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 women. That's crushing it. You know.
I think he calculated it because it was based on like 3 or 4 a week.
Yeah.
And it's like
how many years?
He
died in like his early 70s, so he could have put in a little bit more if he would.
See, I don't think it's 10,000. I thought it was 50,000.
Fuck it, let's say it's 100,000. I don't know. It's whatever it is. He probably slept with more than that. So
I thought he said 50,000 served.
McDonald's? What are you talking about?
No, that was like you have Biden for president in your yard. He had that in his yard.
Women count. Okay, Wilt Chamberlain women count. Yeah, over 20,000 women, and 75% of which have been confirmed. But his claim is
Who's out checking the stats on this?
I don't know. That's what it says.
Or is there just like a website like wiltchamberlainfuckedme.com?
Yeah, well, he claimed 20,000.
That's like on the death certificate, I guess, because they're so old. I don't know.
So he started his count at the age of 15. He would have needed to sleep with 14 women every day until he was 55. So he probably didn't sleep with 20,000 women.
Yeah, but you got to think he's taking on 3 or 4 a night in one session.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You know what? You're right. It's not 14. It's 1.4. I misread it. So he definitely got to 20,000.
Maybe even 50.
Yeah, maybe. Good call. All right, so Wilt's number 2. We have 2 more spots.
So, how about like a Burt Reynolds? I guess you would have to do this by decade.
Yeah, no. So this is all time. Oh, Elvis. We forgot Elvis. So Elvis is definitely on there. So he's 3. So we have 4. We have 1 spot left. I would go Denzel. I think Denzel just fucking really cool. But I don't know how many. Like you said, I don't know what kind of numbers he was putting on the board.
Yeah.
So maybe I would slide McConaughey or Leo in instead.
Weird, because you need that dichotomy of like, being like a pretty boy but a man's man at the same time.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, I think. All right, so we just gotta pick one and move on to the next thing. I'll let you pick out of that group.
Oh, you'll let me pick?
Yeah, I'll let you pick. I'll allow you.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
And it's tough to just not go with the athletes because
they're always the coolest. Everybody wants to be the athletes.
Oh, I just thought, what about Dion? Dion was...
Oh, Prime?
Yeah, dude's name is Prime. I'd definitely bump Denzel for Dion. Easy.
Dion was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
you know what? We might have to like change this to like categories, like you said. Like maybe like coolest sports, coolest like actors, coolest musicians.
Dion, he just was the man, dude.
Yeah, but that was such a short run. In the grand scheme of, I mean, McConaughey's been in movies since.
What are you talking about? Like guys that are cool and then just flame out and die from a fucking cocaine overdose? I mean, what are we talking about here?
I mean, he lost his hair, Dion. He wasn't very good with the Ravens.
This dude ain't got a wife and a family. What a loser!
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Leo's still single and out there slinging it. So
yeah, I know that is true.
That comes into account. Nobody likes being a stay-at-home dad. That's not cool.
Yeah.
You think Elvis would have been a fucking stay-at-home dad? No, sir. Elvis was going to be a single man till the day of his death. He had kids. He didn't give a fuck about them. That's the whole part about being cool, man. Being a bad dad.
Being a deadbeat piece of shit.
I mean, you asked me to define cool. I mean, I thought we were pretty clear on the terms here.
Oh, yeah, that's tough, man. It's hard for me not to go the sports route. I mean, Michael Jordan's cool too.
All right, we'll throw Jordan on there. We'll just throw Jordan on there. So we got Jordan.
We have to do categories on this one.
Yeah.
This is too
maybe we just stumbled across something that we'll talk about later. But so we'll just fuck Mount Rushmore. We'll just do 3. We have Wilt, Joe Namath, and Elvis Presley. Those are the 3 coolest dudes that ever lived. So on to the next thing. Just some stuff in the news. They found I told you about this earlier. They found a fucking missile, a live missile at the Lakeland airport here. And yeah, we've been shitting on Polk County. Now you understand why. They had at their airport a live missile, a live French missile just sitting in their airport. No idea where it came from. They have no idea why it was there.
Did they say they were trying to dispose of it? It's like that's how they dispose of things. Let's send it to a public airport.
Yeah,
what the fuck is going on, dude?
So some dude just came into work. He was going through the storage room and is like, "Is this a missile?" Like
it's a false flag, bro. It's a false flag, bro. They're gonna blow up a plane, dog. Bay of Pigs.
So I don't know about all that, but I just don't understand how that happens. Like what? Like it's one thing, you know, like in the past, I've had things happen where I got shipped something that wasn't mine. You know what I mean? That's happened before.
You seen that warhead? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, mine wasn't quite that.
I swear it was on the bed,
headlights.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I had a pair of headlights that came in the mail. Not quite as dangerous, but you know, maybe if you shine them real bright in someone's eyes and they wreck their car, that's possible. But
you can't tell me they can't track down where that thing came. Like, how many people have a warhead, dude?
It's gotta, that's the thing. If we don't have a list of people where you go through and call, that's a problem. You know what I mean? There should be like 10 possible people that could have fucking possession of a warhead in this country.
I go out and murder somebody. They can match the bullet to my gun, you know, a ballistics test, and they can't figure out where the fucking missile came from. Get the fuck out of here.
Sounds like a missile just came out of your microphone the way you're talking.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little staticky.
God damn it.
Real staticky.
I'm getting a new cord.
All right. Well, anyways, let's wrap it up anyway. We're at our time for the episode. Actually, one more thing before we get out of here. Did you watch any of that Democratic National Convention? Did you even bother to waste your time with that?
I've seen like the highlights of it, but when, you know, Bill Clinton's telling me how I should vote, I'm a little skeptical. This guy's in a dress on a painting in Epstein's house.
I don't understand why we need that anymore to rally. Like, whose vote did they gain from that this weekend?
Did you see like the last video? It was so cheap. It was like
all of them.
It was grainy.
Ours looked better. Our podcast looked better than the Democratic National Convention. I'm serious.
Who the fuck is running this thing?
And the things they were talking about is just such a wasted. Like I watched like clips and they're terrible.
It's all neocon, neoliberal, warmongering. They got Colin Powell, the dude who literally lied us into Iraq on their talking. Like, okay.
I mean, and the thing is, I'm not shitting on the Democrats because the Republicans are going to do the exact same thing.
Colin Powell's a fucking Republican. He's not a Democrat.
Yeah, I know.
They got Republicans speaking at the Democratic National Convention. It's like I don't get. You're not shitting on the Democrats. You're shitting on a Republican.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know. I'm just saying for the convention. I'm not shitting on like it. Just sucks. It's just boring. I guess there's old fucks that still like that stuff, but I just those people are going to vote that way anyway. You know what I mean? The whole purpose of this should be like to gain votes from other people that are in the middle. That's not happening. Like nobody's watching this shit.
Yeah. So. It's like the Democratic National Convention. How many Republicans can we get to talk? Like, what the fuck?
Well, there are a lot of Republicans that hate Trump. So
warmongers, man.
Yeah.
War.
Been watching any of the NBA playoffs since we talked?
I was watching a little bit of the game at the gym today. I don't know how it ended. It was the
Rockets won.
Yeah, the Rockets won.
Yeah, they won.
That was it was tight from what I seen though. They were just going back and forth.
Right at the last like 4 minutes, the Rockets pulled away a little bit.
And then I watched what was the game last night? The last game, the Clippers.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was
Mavs won. The Magic are getting blown out by the Bucks right now. But damn, how stupid do I sound talking about the Lakers are going to sweep the Blazers? They come out and just get smacked in the first game by the Blazers. So that game 2 is tonight. No, I think LeBron's got to take over at some point.
Yeah, I don't watch that first game. But I don't know. This guy Dame is really.
He's real. He is. He's on another level right now.
He could be having his Iverson year.
I mean, he's shooting from the fucking. I thought he was gonna have that last year. They got to the conference finals last year. I thought that's what the case was gonna be. But he's shooting from the fucking logo. He's pulling up like a foot over half court and just shooting. They're terrible shots, but they're going in. So that was the whole thing last year. If you remember, when they eliminated the Clippers, he hit a shot like from way far out, at the buzzer. And after the game, Paul George was like, "That's a bad shot. He got lucky." And it's like, yeah, that's true, but he still fucking made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, still went in. It's not a bad shot for him. You know what I mean? Might be a bad shot for you.
Loser.
Yeah. Skip Bayless, because the Clippers lost last night. Skip Bayless was calling Paul George Paul. He's so funny. It was like Paul George turned into George Paul last night.
Skip Bayless,
because he calls himself Playoff P. They were calling him Pandemic P on fucking Twitter last night.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's on Fox Sports 1 now, right, or some shit.
Yeah.
Him and Shannon, yeah. Dude looks like a living corpse, bro.
Yeah, he does.
He's rough to look at.
I hate those shows though. Just Stephen A.
He's old as fuck, dude. He's like 70, isn't he?
Yeah, he used to write for he was like a beat writer for the Cowboys for a long time, and then Spurs, the Spurs and the Cowboys. Those are like the two teams he followed. And it's funny, once he got away from them, they both started doing better. So maybe it's him. He cracks me up though, just because he has to usually take the less popular side. You know, it's like part of the show is like you pick one side, I pick one side. We're going to argue about it, and he's like entertaining, at least. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I got burnt out on that shit.
Yeah, I can't watch him. I can't watch him at all. But like, they're still no one else can do that job. Those shows you still get ratings.
It's just talking heads, bro. Like it's like the sports aren't the content anymore. The content.
It's them.
It's them, and it's just like even like on YouTube, I was seeing like a thumbnail for the Democratic National Convention. It doesn't even have a picture of the candidates. It's the fucking commentators. It's like, the fuck is this?
Yeah. Like and speaking of that, like these guys are you can say they aren't qualified or whatever. Like Jalen Rose was on Skip Bayless' show years ago, and they got in a big argument, and Skip Bayless basically just had to like eat the medicine because Jalen Rose was going off on him. He's like, "Didn't you average Skip? Did you play high school basketball? And didn't you average 1.9 points a game?"
That's always like trump card. You're like,
it is. Yeah. And then he's like, "You said your favorite player was Pistol Pete." He's like, "Well, you were Water Pistol Pete." It's like, what can you say? This dude played in the NBA.
Yeah, it's the tough part. Is like those talking head motherfuckers. Is like you get into it with the real athletes. It's they're just gonna always resort back to that because it's true. You don't know.
Yeah,
they know.
Yeah.
You don't.
And speaking of that, I was listening to a hockey excuse me. I was listening to a hockey podcast this morning, and it was really interesting. One of the guys they had on was talking about why all of these right now in the NHL, almost all the GMs are former players. And it's like, and the same thing up with like baseball and all these different sports. It's so important because you can look at like stats on a piece of paper and be like, okay, this guy's good, this guy's bad, but you don't know the context. Like, were they down by 10 runs in a game, and that's why his stats are did the team suck? They were always losing. He didn't give a fuck, But if you see it, you're like, okay, when he's trying, he's playing well. And you have to know, are these guys going to get along? You know what I mean? That's a huge part of it, of the locker room. They mentioned the Bruins. They closed out their series and they won last night. And they mentioned after the game, it's like it's clear all these guys like love each other. Like they like playing together. They want to continue to hang out and play hockey. That goes a long way. Versus a team that doesn't like each other. Like, I don't give a fuck if we win or lose. I don't even like this guy. You know what I mean? Sooner I get to go home.
I think baseball is one of those. It can be one of those pure number sports.
It has been for a while now. It is analytics based now, but it's going to be interesting because the team that was the biggest proof of the analytics was the Astros. They're solely done analytically. Who they plug and play, the lineups they would make, the players they drafted. That was their whole thing. That was the proof that analytics worked. And guess what? They were fucking cheating. So maybe it doesn't work.
The analytics told them to cheat.
Fuck. Might as well,
Well, I'm not saying it's all of it. I'm saying it's like in baseball, it's more of like a 60-40 thing as opposed to like football. It's you can't measure when somebody gets, hit by a 300-pound lineman, how that's going to affect them on the next play when they think they're coming around the corner.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
It is. And also, I think we talked about this a little bit on the last episode. Of all of the sports, I think the biggest pressure is football. You see it the most with guys that just can't handle the pressure. Like basketball, it's like, okay.
You're like getting hit. The sport is taking somebody's will, breaking them.
What I mean is like you can see in basketball, like there was when LeBron was younger, his biggest critique was that like when the game was on the line, he would pass the ball, and he still does that sometimes. Yeah. But he was like, I want to find the best play. It's not about me shooting the ball. And it's like the best players want the ball at the end of the game. You know what I mean? But in football, if you're the quarterback, you have no choice. you're getting the ball when the play starts. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like you see these guys that just can't handle it, just completely just
fall apart.
Yeah, they just fall apart. They just don't know what to do. They get in their own head. They throw a terrible pass. They hold on the ball too long. They get hit. You know, they're making bad decisions, and it just
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and it just snowballs. It just gets out of control. It's like, I don't know how to get this back on track. Yeah, that Super Bowl is a great example when the Patriots came back. I mean,
death spiral.
And it's crazy because he played so poorly, yet he made that incredible pass to Julio Jones on the sideline. Julio made the incredible catch. They're in field goal range. The game is over. Holding penalty, sack, they have to punt the ball, and the Patriots go down, score a tie, and then win in overtime.
See, in football, though, in those situations, it could come down like, you know, coaches usually you say it's an oxygen problem, it's an endurance problem, because when you get to the end of the game and you're tired and you can't think, and then it's like then you start making those fucked up mistakes.
Yeah,
not to say that they can't handle it, maybe they just didn't train right.
That's true too, and I think that it's interesting you say that as well. I think that's like one of the most underestimated parts of all sports right now is the training and the coaching, because the Yankees right now, they have one of the best records in baseball. Their entire starting lineup is on the injury list. And this happens every fucking year with them. These last like 4 or 5 years, they can't stay healthy. And it's like, okay, the whole team can't be injury prone. Every single person on the team cannot. Exactly. They can't be injury prone. Like It's not the same guys. It's all these different guys. So that's the training staff. That's the medical staff. There's something wrong there. It's not, you don't have 22 guys that are injury prone. That's not something that exists. I mean, so it's something you're doing systematically that is the problem. With Jordan, whether it's conditioning or stretching or just not getting the right medical attention, or they don't have good doctors, they're diagnosing stuff before they become a problem. You know what I mean? Like,
the training staff definitely has something to do. And people think, you know, those training staffs are really good, and they are to an extent. But when you get the world-class athletes, what do? They don't use the team training staff. They usually branch off and get somebody else. So
and do you think that's just because they have they want to spend the extra money? No, they want to go to the best in the world, and the best in the world is not the team doctor.
Yeah.
So
and nobody, if you have a team doctor or a team of trainers and shit, like if you're that good, you're just not on that team. You're like, I can make money doing this shit on my own.
Exactly. So one last thing before we sign off, this is what I wanted to talk about. So I was very critical of the NFL. I didn't think there was going to be a season, but I'm starting to come around a little bit. Have you been watching Hard Knocks?
Oh shit! I didn't know it started already.
Yeah, it just started. I think last Tuesday. I think there's 2 episodes out now, actually. It's interesting. They're surprisingly doing a very, very cautious job with it. It seems like everyone's on board. There's only 2 teams, granted. It's the Rams and the Chargers, but they're taking it very seriously.
Where are they practicing?
Don't remember. They're not practicing.
LA's on complete lockdown, and these, it's so crazy.
I think they, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen it. Go watch it and then tell me what you think. I think I've made a full 360 or full 180. I think there will be football. I just don't know when they start.
I never
traveling.
said there wouldn't be NFL. I don't think there's going to be college.
We can check the tapes, dog. You did say at one point there's no way they have an NFL season. And I said I think they're going to at least start it, and you said no chance. So, but you did come around a few episodes ago. You changed your mind.
Yeah.
But I think for sure they start the season. Once they start traveling, man, the Mets game got canceled today because they had positive tests. Once you start traveling, that mucks everything up. It's one thing to be in the bubbles like the NBA and the NHL. Once you start moving around the country, all it takes is one guy a cough in the wrong direction. You know what I mean?
I heard they're doing conjugal visits in the bubble.
There's rumors of that. Yeah, rumors.
Yeah.
There was a.
Do you think you got to get tested before you blow a load, or what?
I think that
taking 2 tests at the end.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did we not talk about that Seahawks player?
We didn't talk about these. Baby Nut is an alcoholic. That's in the last show notes. The fuck is that?
We waited too long. That already resolved itself.
Okay.
Do you know who Baby Nut is?
No, I don't.
So the Planters Nut guy, right, Mr. Peanut?
He had a kid?
No. So at the Super Bowl last year, he got in a car accident and he died during the Super Bowl. And Wesley Snipes and Vanilla Ice, I think, were at his funeral. It was real weird. And at his funeral, they opened up his casket and there was a baby nut inside, right? So they created this thing, Baby Nut. And then They were using it as like, because there was like Baby Yoda, there was Baby Groot, like all these different fucking things that were real popular, right? And then now they were like, the Planters was running with this campaign. It was pretty popular too, but like a few weeks ago, they just gave up on that, and they're like, nah, Mr. Peanut's 21 now, and he was just at a bar drinking in a commercial. And they're like, "Can I see your ID?" And he's like, "Wait a minute." And the bartender's like, "Wait a minute, you were a baby yesterday, but today you're 21." And he's like, "Yeah, it's real weird. I've had a weird year." But like, it's just bizarre.
Yeah, that reminds me. I don't think I brought this up in the last episode. We were talking about the Dr. Pepper shit, and I was thinking like, because they have that campaign like during college football season where hello sheriff.
Yeah. Doctor, was it Titletown? Is that the name of the place?
Yeah, it's like, why don't they do that with the Dr. Pepper shortage if they do have college football? That's the big. The fuck happened to all the Dr. Pepper?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they even do those commercials this year. I mean, with everything going on.
I don't know.
Those commercials were so bad. It was like the baby's born like a different, like he has the face paint.
Oh, they were so good though. They were so good. I would literally watch college football to see like what the next episode of those commercials were.
So, do you remember before that it was that the guy that like sold Dr.
Baby's
Pepper
like,
in
"Go
the
State!"
stadium? Yeah. But do you remember before those commercials, the campaign they had before was like that one guy that sold Dr. Pepper in the stadium, and he would just say like weird monologues.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, he was just like in a
pinstripe fucking it's that guy that's been in like a couple weird TV shows. Yeah.
You look like Colonel Sanders just out there fucking slinging Dr. Pepper. And at one, and then it got to the point where he's just like in people's homes with the thing that had the Dr. Pepper. It's like, what's going on? So anyways, one last thing, we'll get out of here. So I think I want to talk about the Seahawks. So this player, rookie, undrafted free agent, he got cut. Can you guess why? I'll give you 3 options. Hey, did you hear about this?
I did, for sneaking the chicken. We didn't talk about this?
Yeah, no, I guess we didn't talk about it. So it's just great because he dressed her in Seahawks equipment to try to sneak her in as another player. She got caught.
Why don't they he could have just snuck her in as like an equipment intern. That's when
something, dude.
Like, they all do that shit too. Because in training camp, they're not supposed to have anybody up in there.
Yeah.
They all stay in the same hotel and shit.
Even more so this year, obviously.
Yeah,
with everything going on.
They're all doing it.
I don't know. I think some of these teams are taking it very seriously because they have to get out of training camp without an outbreak. If there's an outbreak like this week, there's not going to be a football season. So I think they're taking that part of it seriously. Because it's of all the sports so far, I think the players that want to play the most is the NFL, bizarrely. Because I thought it would be the opposite. The NHL, when they announced the bubble thing, there's a lot of guys that are like, I don't know. I don't really want to do that. And then the NBA, the guys were like, I have to spend all this time away from my family in the middle of the pandemic. There was problems with that. Baseball, they're like, we're getting half the money. Why even fucking play at all? The NFL guys are like, let's fucking do this. So
I feel like maybe they have that sense of, I mean, that shit is the backbone of America, man.
Yeah.
That shit is the backbone.
I think also it's because with football, like, it's the most cutthroat fucking sport where you have one bad year, they can cancel your non-guaranteed contract, and you don't have a job anymore. It happens quick to these guys.
And they get paid by the game, and
Exactly. So I think these guys are like, I can't take a year off. You know what I mean? I need to get this money now. So I get that.
Yeah, ain't shit guaranteed.
Exactly. Like as in baseball, it's all 100% guaranteed money. You get every dime of what you signed for. Football, you see these, like Mahomes signed for $500 million. I think it's like a lot of it is guaranteed, but it's not all guaranteed, even for him. So
fuck no, he'll never see all that money.
He'll probably restructure anyway. I was already reading about that. They're like, yeah, but halfway into this deal, that'll be like in the middle. You know, there'll be guys getting paid more than that halfway through his deal. So if he's like what 24. So if he's 29 and he's on his 4th Super Bowl, he's gonna get more money than that. You know. So. All right, let's sign out here. What do you got planned for the weekend? Anything cool?
Nothing. I don't want to do anything.
No, you're still
I don't like doing stuff. No. Why? What can you do?
Well, I'm having my fantasy football. Our big draft is this weekend. It's a little early, but it's the only day everybody can get together.
What, you think if you get the draft in early, football's going to happen?
Nah, listen, I'm actually the opposite. I wanted it to be later because I don't want to draft a guy who tears his ACL in the fucking preseason. You know what I mean? But it's the only day we can do it for everybody. I'm the defending champ. It's a big money league, so a lot of fun. I've been 11 years. I've been in this league, so I've won it twice. So looking for a back-to-back here. But We have 2 guys that are not coming to the draft. They are going to do it. They're worried about the pandemic or whatever, and they're doing it from their phones or whatever. But usually every year we have the in-person draft. Everyone just gets fucking shit-faced. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes this year with everything going on. So
now you got to plan for COVID injuries.
I know. We're talking about maybe doing like we don't have a disabled list. We're talking about maybe adding like a spot just for COVID stuff. So. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one this year because, like, what if somebody gets it bad? Like the guy from the Red Sox that got it and he's out for the season because of his myocarditis.
You think there's like, since these guys are healthy, you think there's just going to be like, sabotage, like, maybe a bench player has COVID and then like, during the game, it's like, go cough on his fucking
go tackle
mouth.
Brady.
Yeah.
Go spit in Brady's eyeball.
Yeah. We play him in 2 weeks in the playoffs.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. I don't think that he'll get to that point.
A lot of
but maybe, dude.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Gets attempted murder charge. Like, fuck, dude.
And it wasn't for hitting him so hard. It was for spitting in his fucking ear.
Yeah, we know you ruptured his spleen, but
that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's head out. Thanks, guys. Again, follow the Twitter and the Instagram at @scam_podcast. Please go do that. Do that right now. You're listening audio only. Go to Twitter. Go to Instagram at @scam_podcast. And if you want to email us, we appreciate all the emails. Some good emails this week. Some deep emails this week.
Yeah.
Podcastscam@gmail.com. And we will be back. We'll probably do record Monday, out Tuesday. Does that sound good, Malcolm?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. See you guys then.